So seated on your butt, but with your knees bent and legs out in front of you, and it's just going to be that nice little rounding hug. So find a comfortable seat, bend your knees, make some space for your belly and for your chest, and then lean in just a little bit, soften through the back of your body. And take a moment here. We're not going to stay here super long, but we're going to just take a moment to kind of ground and check in. So start by just noticing your feet touching the floor. And notice how your feet feel. So especially if you were wearing shoes all day today or socks or anything that was kind of holding the foot in, now see if you can just kind of let your toes soften and relax. And then maybe just let your awareness travel up your legs. Notice how your legs feel right now. And then maybe just notice your butt or your sits bones connected to the floor, and maybe just let your glute muscles relax just a little bit more. Notice if you're holding any tension in your jaw, see if you can let that go. For our practice tonight, we have a couple of places that we are going to hold just a little bit longer than you're used to, but they're pretty comfortable positions. But do check in with your knees here. One of the places that will hold a little bit longer will be extended child's pose. So if you think your knees are feeling tender today and they could benefit from a little cushioning, perhaps a blanket or a towel might be the thing to grab before we get that our practice kicked off. So just notice how your knees feel. And then just for one more moment here, just tune in and notice the natural rhythm of your breath. So no need to change or fix the breath, but just notice your inhalation, notice your exhalation. And then before we move away from this place of stillness, set an intention here to honor your mind and your body throughout your practice, never doing anything that would cause your body pain, and treating yourself with love, care, and respect. Cool. And then when you're ready, slowly and mindfully start to lift yourself up. So lifting the torso up away from the thighs. The first posture we're going to go to, we're only actually going to stay for 1 minute. So hands behind the back, fingers pointing towards the butt, push into your palms, squeeze your shoulder blades together and lift your chest. So what we're trying to shoot for here is just kind of an opening through the collarbones, through the front of the chest, through the front of the heart space. And maybe you'll feel a light stretch in your wrists, but we want to create this space with a little bit of intention. So allow it to be a little bit more of an active pose, squeezing between the shoulder blades, heart lifts, and then just kind of notice, how do your shoulders feel? How do your wrists feel? Can you keep your breath slow and steady here? Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, slowly start to release. Pick your wrist up and just give your wrist a little twirl just to kind of move any of that dull ache out of your wrist that you may have come across. But now we're going to spin everything around to start to find our way into our extended child's pose. So start with the big toes together, walk your knees out nice and wide, or as wide as you like. And then just start by bringing your butt back to your heels, and you're going to see how your knees feel here. And then if your knees want that little bit of extra cushion underneath the knees and the shins, or if you want a little space between the backs of your thighs and your calves. So if you feel like a little extra space would do the trick, take a second to do that, and then start to find your way into your extended child's pose. So for extended child's pose, this place with the heart forward. We're going to stay here for 3 minutes, but then we're going to add on. So we're going to just notice how everything feels here. And if you feel like it becomes too intense, one of the easiest ways is to kind of lift the butt away from the heels. So start by finding the softest position that you can sustain. And then once you've got your body in a nice, comfortable position here, invite softness into the back of your body and give a little time here to let your mind slow down. So maybe you just start by noticing the rhythm of your breath. Taking one more breath here, but we are staying in this extended child's pose shape. So just for a moment here, notice how the backs of your legs feel. If you think you need to create a little space and just kind of lift your butt up just to get a little blood flow down to your toes, take a second to do that. But then when you feel like you've worked that out, settle your butt back toward your heels. And now we're going to walk it into a little bit of a side bend shape. So you're going to walk your hands over and off the left side of your mat. And then once you've found your way there, take a moment to just kind of tune in, see if your knees feel good about the shape that you're in. And then if you need to change anything, go ahead and do that. But then once you're there, invite that softness back into your body. Let your arms be soft and heavy. Let your forehead be soft and heavy. And then just see if you can tune in and notice the right side of your body. You might be able to feel the breath there just a little bit stronger. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start to bring it back to center. As you bring it back to center, just kind of take a moment to tune in and notice. Do you need to lift your butt up? Do you need to move some blood flow back down to the toes? Work out anything that you need to, but then when you feel like you're ready, take it over and off to the other side. Let your elbows soften down, let your forehead soften down. Right away, notice, make sure your knees feel good, your back feels comfortable. And then just come back to your awareness of breath, noticing the physical action of breath within your body. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start to bring it back to center. As you come up to center, we're going to just walk the knees in a little bit. Slide your right leg back with your toes curled under and just take a couple of gentle rocks forward and back just to bring a little movement into the back of the leg, into the ankle joint. And then when you're ready, slide that foot and switch to the other side. Left toes curled under, slide that foot back, take a couple of gentle rocks forward and back. Awesome. And then just for a second here, with both knees on the ground, notice the floor beneath you. We have a couple of belly down positions from here. So if the floor underneath you is super hard and you think that a little blanket underneath you would be beneficial, grab your blanket. But if you feel ready to, we're going to come down nice and slow and easy onto the belly and move right into our Sphinx pose. So elbows in line with the shoulders, hands in that parallel position. Take a second to kind of wiggle into your tush, create a little space in the low back, and then just lift a little bit higher through the heart. And then once you found your way there, let everything quiet down. You can tuck chin down to chest if that feels like a nice way to go, but make sure you're breathing comfortably there if that's the option that you choose. And so in this Sphinx position, we get that slight bit of compression in the spine, and that's what we're going for. But we don't want so much compression that we're creating pain in the low back. So if at any point you feel like you're finding more pain than pleasure out of this position, you can always walk your elbows a little bit wider, but then you do offer that bit of support from your arms. So always make sure that you're staying in a position that feels sustainable and the muscles are able to relax. Take a moment just to check in, make sure everything is still feeling good. We're still in this pose, so this is one of the postures that we're holding just a little bit longer than we normally do. So we have just a minute, extra minute added on. So make sure that you're still breathing comfortably here. Now for this last minute here, if you want just that little bit of extra work, you're going to take it into a seal pose. So hands are going to step out a little bit wider to the outer edges of your mat, and then you're going to push into the palms and lift up just a little bit higher, which does require a little bit more efforting in the arms and the upper body. So if you feel like the effort is a little bit more than the reward, you might choose to keep your elbows down on the ground. But if it feels all right to find that extra bit of compression in the spine, once you're there, can you relax the muscles along the spine, but still find a little effort in the arms and in the chest? Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly and mindfully bring it down onto your belly. So soften your elbows, especially if you were up in that seal position. And then as you come down, just let your hands stack, let your forehead rest there. Take a second to kind of wiggle out your bum, make sure everything feels good. And then if it feels good to have that little bit of extra movement, bend your knees and rock your heels a little side to side. Cool. Now from here, we're going to stay in that belly down position, lower your toes down to the ground, and we're going to take it right into intense shoulder stretch. So right hand is going to reach out from your shoulder, and then we're going to roll over onto the left side. So you might, onto the right side. You might choose to step your right foot behind you, or you might choose to stay a little bit less intense and just push into your left hand to find a little bit of stretch through the front of the chest and the pectoral muscle in the shoulder. But make sure that there's no zinging sensation down the arm, and you're able to soften. So maybe you can relax your head down, soften your fingers, soften into your breath. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, start by rolling back onto your belly. Slide that right hand in, maybe wiggle your fingers, move your shoulder around a little bit, make sure everything feels good. If it created any funkiness in the back, maybe wiggle out your hips a little bit. And then once you feel like you've kind of worked out that dole ache, we're going to take it right to the other side. So the left arm is going to extend out from the shoulder. We're going to press either into the right hand and just draw the shoulder up. That might be plenty. You might find plenty of work there. But if it feels like not quite enough, then you'll roll over onto your left side. And then once you found your way there, just invite some softness in. Maybe you let your head relax down. Soften your left arm, soften your fingers. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start to come out of the pose. So if you were rolled all the way over onto your side, take a second to roll back onto your belly, slide that left hand in, maybe give everything a little shimmy shake, wiggle out your shoulders, make sure everything feels good. And then once you feel like you've kind of worked out those little wiggles, we're going to stay in that belly down position. We're going to bend the right knee, reach your right hand back and see if you can catch hold of that foot. Once you've caught hold of the foot, and this is a place where a yoga strap might be beneficial if that handhold doesn't feel really good. But once you've got your handhold or your strap, then if it feels good, you're going to turn your head to the left and tuck your fingers right underneath your cheekbone. On this side, I don't go all the way into that because I don't want to push my microphone into the ground, but with your fingertips underneath your cheeks, it offers just a light bit of a stretch to the neck, but leave that part out if it doesn't feel good. If it feels better to just kind of rest your forehead on your hand, do the thing that feels the best to you. Once you've got your head in a position you like, and you've got your handhold or your strap around the foot, now see if you can keep the heel hugged towards the butt, but can you relax your thigh muscles and relax your glute muscles? Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly release your hold from your foot, lower the toe with control, wiggle out your hand because you might have found a little bit of efforting in your grip to hold on to that foot. Wiggle out your bum just a little bit, make sure everything feels like it's still in a good position. And then once you feel like you're there, take it right to the other side. Bending the left knee, reaching back, seeing if you can catch hold of the foot or use your yoga strap. And then if it feels good to do so, adding that little head turn. So head turns to the right, fingertips under the cheek. And then if at any point that head turn just starts to feel not beneficial, you always have the option to release it or release anything that doesn't feel good. But if it feels okay to be here, start to invite some softness in. See if you can soften the muscles along your thigh. Soften your glutes. And even if you're holding any tension in your belly, see if you can soften your belly. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start by releasing your foot, wiggle out your hand, wiggle out your bum, make sure everything feels good, maybe even bend both knees and swish them a little side to side. Any little bit of movement that moves any dull ache out of the way. So if your knees were feeling it, maybe you just like pop your knees a little bit, or you move your ankles or your wrists, anything that feels good. But then once you feel like you've kind of got all of that worked out, lower your toes down, push your way up into a tabletop position. We're going to take a toe stretch, but we're not going to stay in the toe stretch for too long. So it's just going to be 1 minute. So toes curled under, draw your butt back to your heels to your comfort level. So that might be here. You might be still almost looking like you're in a tabletop position. That might be plenty for your toes. But if it feels good and you want that big intense stretch, then you're going to sit all the way up on the heels. But that can be extreme. So if that doesn't feel like it offers you a benefit and you're just in excruciating pain the whole time, then please lift yourself forward. But if it feels okay to be in that more upright position, see where can you relax? Can you soften your thighs? Can you soften your shoulders? Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, slowly start to lift up. So if your butt was all the way back to the heels, lift it up, release your toes, and then just give everything a little wiggle. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your ankles. From here, we're going to take it into our legs are going to be in what either called cow face pose or shoelace. So right knee behind the left. If you want to get there from this tabletop position, you're just going to take your right knee, tuck it behind the left, and then you're just going to sit back onto your butt so that your legs are in that crisscross position. And I'll face the camera just so you can see what I'm saying. So your knees are going to be stacked and your toes are pointing in opposite directions. But this might not be the pose for everyone's knees or for the hips. So if it feels better, you might choose to send the bottom leg out. That might feel like a little bit more accessible. And then once you've got your legs in the configuration that you like, so either a single leg, and we're going to do the other side, so it won't matter, or with a double leg, so both knees bent, totally up to you on that. But then if your left leg is on top, we're going to do left hand on bottom. So we're going to wrap the arms around into your eagle arms. So eagle arms and cow face legs. That's what we're going for here. So once you've got maybe your arms in that wrap position, or you might choose to just go for a hug, holding onto the shoulders, lean yourself forward to a depth that feels good. If at any point you get to a place and you're like, wow, that does not feel good to my knees or my hips, make the adjustments that you need so everything feels like it's a really comfortable position. But then once you've got the shape that feels good, see if you can tune in and notice the breath in the back of your body. So with the eagle arms or the hugged arms, you create that space between the shoulder blades. And now just see if you can tune in and feel that physical action of breath in that space. If at any point the compression in the arms feels like it's too much, you can always just take it into a hug. You'll still keep that same space between the shoulder blades, but with less compression in the elbow joint and the arms. But the positive compression is good, but we want to make sure it's beneficial. So if it feels like it loses its benefit, let it go. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start to bring yourself up and out. So if you like, you could just swing your legs out in front of you and unlace your legs and bop the knees around. But if you prefer to take it back into your tabletop position, you might choose to pop yourself up, unwind your legs, and then bop your hips a little side to side. So come in and out in the way that seems most appropriate to you. But then once you've got yourself worked out and you've got all that dull leg worked out, we're going to take it right to the other side. So left leg underneath, right leg on top. Either you're going to go with the shoelace with both knees bent, or you're going to swing that bottom leg out if that offers you just a little bit more space. And then once you've found your way there, the leg that's on top, that's the arm that's going to be on bottom. You're going to wrap those hands around, find that comfortable position, and then take it into your fold. So leaning your heart forward just as much as feels good. Arms wrapped or arms in the hug, just whatever feels the best to you there. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start to unwind. So unwrap the arms, unwrap your legs, swing everything out, and then just give it all a wiggle. Wiggle your knees, wiggle out your shoulders, wriggle out your wrists. Anything that you may have found a little bit of a dull ache as you release, wriggle it all out. And then once you feel like you've got all of that worked out, wanted to make sure that you guys could still hear me actually, because I heard a little ding ding and I was like, uh-oh, I hope everybody can hear me. So, okay, so last pose in our seated position, bring the soles of the feet together, knees out to the left and to the right, and we're gonna take it right into a fold. Thank you. Take it into your forward fold position as deep as you like. So legs in that diamond shape can be any width of the diamond that works best in your body. So heels close to the groin or further away, that's totally up to you, just whatever makes your knees and your hips the happiest. But then just a slight lean forward with your heart space, go only to a depth that feels good. So here you might find sensation in the knees, but that's not really where we're shooting for. We're shooting for sensation maybe into your glutes or the side of your hips, maybe inner thigh or groin. So those places are where we're shooting to find. So if you're finding stuff in your knees or in your low back, see if you can readjust things so that you're moving the sensation out of those places. But then once you've found your way into a good space for your body, soften your inner thighs, soften your shoulders, Take a moment to tune in. So if you've lost sensation and you want more, you might choose to sink a little deeper into your fold. But if you've picked up too much sensation, it might be more beneficial to dial it back a little bit. So make sure that you're staying in a space that you're breathing comfortably. You're not tensing up around the knees. Everything can stay soft. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly bring yourself up. Help your knees come together. Give it a little time. And then just with a nice bend in the knees, rock your knees a little side to side. Find just some gentle movement here. If you need to kick your knees around or move your ankles, anything that feels good and gets you out of that dull ache. But then once you feel like you've got it all worked out, we're going to come down to the ground, onto our backs, finishing with a twist on both sides. So start by finding your way down onto your back. Give a second, get everything into its comfortable place. Your clothes are in a good position. And then once you're there, we're going to take the knees and start by taking your knees, but let your whole body kind of move with you. So think rolling over into a fetal position so that your legs can get heavy onto the ground. And then once you feel like you've got your legs heavy on the ground, now open up into the twist. So that means that as your knees are over to the right, your left arm and left shoulder might not make it to the ground. So don't worry about getting it all the way down onto the ground, but worry about keeping your legs nice and heavy, and then just let your top arm be as heavy as it wants to be. Softening into that position with your breath. So allow a little time here to just let your breath come in and out at a nice natural rhythm. Head can be turned all the way to the left, or head can be turned up towards the ceiling. That just varies depending on what feels nice to your head and your neck. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready to release, start by bringing that left hand over to the right. So pull the arm across the body so you come back into that kind of fetal position. And then we're going to take the knees and pull them up to center so that we roll onto our back. Take a nice little gentle rock side to side just to kind of work out anything that you may have come across. But then once you feel like you're ready, take it over to the left. So take the knees and the torso so you kind of roll into that fetal position. And then right arm is going to extend out, which means at first, especially, the right arm and shoulder might not find the ground to start. So give it a little bit of time, let the knees stay heavy. Head can be turned to the right or up towards the ceiling, just whatever feels the most comfortable. But see here, if you can, for these last few minutes of work, can you focus on your breath, allowing the muscles to just relax as much as possible and just notice that physical movement of breath, especially in your torso. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, start by bringing that right arm over to the left. So you roll back onto that left side into that fetal position. And then once you've got that right arm over, pull the knees to center, roll onto your back. And now we're going to take those knees and draw them in a couple of circles. Go in one direction. Take your knees, draw them in circles, go the other way. Awesome. And then set both feet down on the ground. We're just going to do a little reset of the spine before we find our way to our Shavasana. So feet about hip width distance apart, heels a little close to the butt. Find those bony hip points, those little front protruding hip bones, and we're going to take a little pelvic tilt here. So as you exhale, press your low back into the ground. Inhale and release to the natural curve of your back. Exhale to press your low back down. Inhale to release. Take about 3 more cycles of breath and just move that with your breath's rhythm and add a depth and a pace that works good for you. Awesome. And then the next time you find neutral spine, so hip bones in line with that front pubic bone so that there's a little bit of a natural curve of your back. Once you found your way there, we're going to let the hands come down to the ground. Pick up your right leg, send the heel up towards the sky, but with a nice generous bend in that leg, and give your leg a gentle shake. Cool. And then when you're ready, set that leg down, slow and controlled. Pick up your left leg, send the foot up towards the sky, but keep a generous bend in that knee and give your left leg a good gentle shake. Awesome. And then set that left foot down. Now with both feet on the ground, only if it feels good. If you had anything funky going on with your back, you might choose to leave this off. But if you want just that little bit of vibrational work, like you're galloping on a horse, you're going to push into your heels and find a little tiny rock. So you're going to rock into the pelvis, you push into the heels, and it feels like your torso or the crown of your head is trying to reach up towards the top of your mat and then lowers down. But you're going to make sure that this feels like a safe and comfortable maneuver. If there's anything that feels wrong in the back, leave this off. But if it feels okay to be here, take 2 more cycles of breath, just pushing into the heels, rocking up and down. Nice. And then when you're ready, let that all come to stillness and then ask your body where would be your best Shavasana. Would it feel good to come to constructive rest and let the knees drop in towards each other? Do you feel like you needed a little bit more action and you just didn't find your way there and you want to take it into reclined cobbler's pose, knees come out to the left and to the right? Preferably here, you'll take some blankets and just tuck them around the thighs so the thighs stay supported. Or maybe you want that more traditional shape and you walk your feet nice and long. Any other variation or shape of your body that feels good and allows you to find a little stillness that makes sense to you, give your body a moment to find it. And then once you feel like your body is kind of there, whatever there that is for you, we're going to tense up the body for a second. So kind of squeeze your glutes, squeeze your thighs, maybe make little fists, maybe scrunch up your feet, even scrunch up your face a little bit. Tense up your body. Let it get as tense as it can be, whatever position it's in. And then see if you can let everything go. And then we'll do that just one more time. Tense up your body. So contract the muscles in your thighs, scrunch up your feet, roll your hands into little fists. Feel a little tightness in your chest, maybe even scrunch up your face a little bit. Hold that tension for one more second, and then let everything go. Let your body soften. Let your muscles relax. Give everything a little wiggle. Make sure it's in a good position, and then see if you can find a little stillness here. Start to bring your awareness back into your body. Gently wiggle your fingers, gently wiggle your toes. And then if it feels comfortable, if your body's in the right position, if it feels good to do so, gently rock your head side to side. Just to invite a little bit of movement into the head, the neck, and the cervical spine, and just notice that little bit of massage that happens in the back of the head. Nice. And then once you feel like you're ready, start to invite some bigger movements in. Maybe move your wrists, move your ankles, move your knees, move your hips, any bit of gentle movement that reawakens you. And then if it feels really good to do so, take it into a big good morning stretch. So step your feet nice and long, stretch your arms up and overhead, take a nice big breath back into your body. And then in your own way, at your own pace, start to find your way up to a comfortable seated position. So you might choose to roll to one side or rock and roll your way up, but take your time as you come up to that seat so it feels really mindful. And then once you found your way up to a comfortable seated position, just kind of take a second, get yourself situated, make sure your clothes are good. And then if you can, just a little access to the side of the neck and the throat. So we're going to take the left hand, reach across to the right side of your neck. So it's a gentle handhold. And then once you've got a gentle handhold, just kind of make sure your thumb is tucked slightly out of the way with a light bit of holding onto that connective tissue, keeping the skin trapped. Just start to draw some gentle circles with your nose, small and simple and mindful, so we're not yanking the head around. And then just see if you can tune in and feel that movement of skin and connective tissue underneath your hand. And then if it feels good to do so, take those circles and draw them the other way, still keeping that hand where it is. Nice. Take one more circle around, and then as your head comes back to center, release your hand and take it over to the other side. So you're going to reach the hand across, get a nice gentle hold, but move your thumb out of the way so you have room to move. And then once you feel like you're there, take your head, draw it in circles, go in one direction, nice and small, nice and mindful. And if it helps you find your way there, close your eyes down so you find a good bit of movement that feels right in your body. Awesome. And then take those circles and draw them the other way. Nice. Take one more circle around. And then as your head comes back to a more neutral position, release your hands, stack both hands right on top of your heart, and then maybe bow your head to your heart. Take a moment here just to bring your awareness back to your breath. Notice your inhalation. Notice your exhalation. Take one more nice, mindful breath. Inhale nice and deep. And then as you exhale, just let your shoulders soften, jaw relaxes, and think about letting go of anything you're holding on to that won't serve you through the rest of your night. And then when you feel ready, gently lift up through the top of your head, gently open your eyes. I bow to you. Happy Monday. Poor MJ. I was like, is she losing her connection? I wish there was some way I could, without interrupting, go, is it your internet?